Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
If I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're fading, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Oh, and my unicorn mask is in frame. Let me get that off frame. As you can tell, I look kind of rough. To say that I look kind of rough, I think is probably the understatement. As you can tell from my voice, I'm sick. But because I've been so busy, let me try to, no, that just, well, let's have him all the way in the picture. If we're going to have Mr. Unicorn here, let's have Mr. Unicorn all the way here. I've just been getting worse sick. I thought it was just that I was tired. If you had seen my post, we were supposed to do that informal LNC at night, or at dark, I think, LNC at dark show on Thursday. And I said I was just too tired. And I slept Thursday. I slept Friday. And then, I woke up Saturday, a lot of stress, just stuff going on. I was just like, no, I'm still just really tired. And this light is distracting me. It's this pink flame bulb, which I guess is kind of cool, but it doesn't look anything like the picture. It never does. And I didn't buy it on Wish, by the way. But its little pulsating is starting to bother me. We're going to put Lady Liberty back up, I think, next time. Because that's starting to get to me. But I was like, you know what? I just can't, even with this crazy hair. It's just doing something really weird here. Stay in bed for another night. I'm going to at least do a little bit of a history show. It doesn't take much prep work on my part. And I always build up my enthusiasm, whether I'm sick or not. But if you're wondering why I look rougher than normal, yeah, that's why. And I'm about to lose my voice. So it won't be that long. Of a show. Also, if you're one of, oh, I need to turn the furnace off. Hold on. Yes, I am wearing my unicorn sweatpants too. This is how comfy I am today. Got my unicorn sweatpants, my unicorn in the corner, just not feeling well. And if you're one of the party members that got a text from me over the past couple days, now you know why. My voice isn't up to phone calls. So we're going to do some LP history. I don't think I really have any intro stuff to do except for the normal. Let me do the normal. Can we do the normal? And I know there's like some, well, isn't there always like some drama going on? But there's just some things that due to my position I can't talk about, and I'm not. But I do want to stick up I want to make that center, but it's not. It's driving me crazy. If you would like to support my rerun for LNC Secretary, I would appreciate it at tinyurl.com/LNC Secretary. Truly appreciate it. And also, I don't have a link for this, but if you go to my Cafe Press store, if you're on YouTube, there's like a little bar along the bottom that shows some of the products. We got a properly spelled this time, a fuero shirt. So go and pick one up. I would really, really appreciate it. I've also been asked, and now that all of the Michigan appellate filings are done, so if you're wondering where we're at in the Michigan lawsuit, we're doing a little bit of current LP stuff before we get to the historical stuff. If you're wondering where we're at in the Libertarian Party lawsuit with Michigan, and I'm probably going to end up having to sneeze, all of the appellate filings have been filed. You can read them for yourself. They're all up on LPD, or you can find them on various public court searches like Court Listener. I'd highly suggest you read them and come to your own conclusions. But I've been asked by a few people in Michigan if I could do like a 10-minute summary. I don't know if that's possible. I can't open a show in less than 10 minutes. But if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll try to record it. And it will basically be a just the facts, ma'am, legal argument of what's going on and some of the factual background. So let me know if you're interested in that. So what I think we're going to talk about today, January, February 1976 LP news. Obviously, we're not getting through all of that issue. The end of February is coming up. I've been doing a lot of other type of content. And again, I'll do as many shows as I can next week. But up through National Convention, my time just isn't as plentiful as it would be. And depending upon what happens at National Convention will direct a lot the direction of my channel. And what do I mean by that? I hope, and I probably shouldn't say this because there's some of you who are probably going to be like, I'm not going to vote for you because I'd like to see Karen Ann Harlow's Unchained. But I hold back. I hold back quite a bit on this channel due to my position. And obviously, I do hope to get reelected. I am running my booty off to be reelected, but if not, the direction of the channel may change a little bit to be a little less censored. Because believe it or not, even with my potty mouth and my strong opinions, Mommy holds back. Mommy holds back a lot. And it's not that I have any criticisms of the current, let me put it to you this way. It isn't like there are things I would say about this current administration that I'm not saying because that's just not the case. But there are some really, really dirty tactics that are being done by some party members outside that I just don't comment on. And I would comment pretty freely on it before. There's some shit that's went on that you have no idea. You have no idea. And we're not talking about, oh my God, there's all this secrecy on this LNC. No, there really isn't. This is one of the least secret LNCs I've ever been on. If you ever have a question upon that, you can throw it in chat. Just sorry, I'm not buying the retcon. But there's been crap done by private actors, non-elected actors, that I've just kept my mouth shut on. So anyway, that's a little teaser for you. One day we'll talk about it, my friends. So let's get to, and I feel like I got something in my teeth. You know I hate that. Conservative Darling is the title of this column. Schlesing. God, I'm never going to pronounce this name. And I had a girlfriend with this last name when I was growing up. Schlesinger. Schlesinger. Why can I not pronounce this name? It's because I have a lisp, and there's just a lot of S's in there combined with other sounds that just... Schlesinger. There we go. Schlesinger, spokesman of interventionism. See, this is, yeah. So let's see what the conservative darling Schlesinger, spokesman of interventionism, had to say in February 1976. By the way, the next reaction show I'm going to be doing is Michael Knowles did have something more on the Satanic Temple of, was it Idaho or Iowa? I know it was an I state. I keep forgetting. But he did some commentary on that. Just goes to show how these conservatives are not libertarian at all. And I always trigger all of their followers when I do shows about them. They just freak the hell out because they think they believe in freedom and they don't believe in freedom. It's like a libertarian who tells me you're not allowed to secede. Now, you can say it's not a good idea. It would probably result in a lot of double ungood, not good, you know what I'm trying to say, without triggering the YouTube algorithm. It would probably put a lot of people in an unhappy place. Okay, that's a tactical argument. That's a timing argument. That's a tactical argument. That's not a rights-based argument. I'm sorry, believing in secession down to the individual is a fundamental libertarian tenet. Now, you might not think it's a good idea. I mean, a fundamental libertarian tenet is the fact that you have the right to snort as much cocaine as you want to. It's not a good idea, but you certainly have the right to do it. And I completely respect, well, maybe I don't like in that way. Let me put it this way. I completely respect as a libertarian a person who says, oh yeah, you definitely have that right, but you would be really stupid to do that. I talking about the secession thing, I think we all agree on snorting as much cocaine as you want. I can respect that. I don't necessarily agree with their point of view because I do think the time is coming, but I can respect that because that's just a rational self-interest argument. But to claim this is the Hotel California because hundreds of years ago some people signed a magic piece of paper, that is not libertarian in the slightest. Sorry. Not sorry. And you want to know what? I'm not saying if you think that you're not a libertarian, because you want to know what? We all have our heresies. That idea is not libertarian. All of us libertarians hold multiple unlibertarian ideas. And whichever of you are sitting out in the audience right now going, not me, I don't hold any non-libertarian ideas. You probably hold more non-libertarian ideas than the rest of us. Just saying. I've admitted to a few of my heresies. Okay, let's get back to the spokesman of interventionism. Oh, God, I'm going to lose my voice. Let me just take a sip of some liquid. Oh, the ice in there really helps. Conservatives were distressed at the dismissal of James Schlesinger from his post as Secretary of Defense. Conservative Republican Ronald Reagan and conservative Democrat, there was a conservative Democrat, Senator Henry Jackson, share Schlesinger's penchant for global interventionism and hence have been quick to mimic, God, this name appears over and over, God is punishing me, to mimic Schlesinger's foreign policy analysis. Schlesinger follows a pattern which is time-honored among conservative war hawks. First, statements by foreign leaders are distorted in order to create the impression that America's global interventionism is merely a response to an implacable foe bent upon world military conquest. Oh my word. This was written in 76. Doesn't this not sound like it could have been written today? by or said today, or described today, Nikki Haley or any of the other neoconservative war hawks that we have. Oh my God, we got to stop Putin. Oh my God, we got to stop Hamas. Oh my God, now it's the Houthis. It's like, really? Okay. Once Germany served as the foreign threat in the war hawks' apologia for intervention, now it's Russia. And it's Russia again. Russia, Russia, Russia. And I'm sure I'll be called a Putin apologist. Second, Schlesinger defines an area of vital American interest as virtually the entire globe. In his account, America's interests turn out to be raw materials, investment outlets, and markets. Schlesinger apparently believes, in his own way, the old Leninist canard that the capitalist system necessarily must be imperialistic. And that's why there's a lot of ANCOMs. And we like to laugh at communists. I mean, let's face it, laughing at communists is fun. But don't ever be fooled to think that your opponents don't have points somewhere, that they don't have good reasons, or at least good reasons that led them to very, very bad conclusions. And the imperialism of American alleged capitalism is one of those things. Now, of course, we know that American capitalism is really corporatism, it's cronyism, but they don't know that. And they see it as this predatory, imperialistic monster. If you saw it that way truly and thought that was its nature by nature, wouldn't you hate it too? So yeah, I mean, go ahead, continue to laugh at commies, they're funny. But at least understand that from their perspective, this is what they're fighting. And it gives you some sympathy for their point of view. I forgot where I was at, or I can't find it. So we might just start as a random place because I'm not feeling well enough to try to find this. Oh, here we go. That obtaining natural resources and exporting capital and goods abroad are necessary to the survival of a market economy and require military threats and intervention. Schlesinger's interventionism stands in sharp contrast to the Libertarian Party's foreign policy goal of avoiding entangling alliances and abstaining totally from foreign quarrels and imperialistic adventures. Schlesinger's discussion of the Soviet notion of peaceful coexistence in the February issue of Fortune shows how he distorts reality. All Soviet leaders have ever said was that, isn't it funny though, and I'm seeing where I missed a spot where I painted my nails and it's really bugging me. I'm going to need to fix that when I go upstairs. Some of these things we're saying that the LP is saying here, you could easily import them into a modern context, and the leftist libertarians, if that's what you want to call them, scream that you're being a Russian apologist, and they claim you're departing from the history of the party and you're just a bunch of MAGA, whatever it is that they say. Listen to what I'm going to read right here and tell me if we really have departed from the way the historical party has spoken. The problem is the party went so far into non-libertarian extreme pragmatism that when it actually goes back to libertarianism, they view that as being edgelord, or they view that as being extreme and non-respectable, and oh my God, what will the rich men north of Richmond think of us? So let's read this again. I'm trying to find it again. So this is what Schlesinger says. All Soviet leaders have ever said was that a reunification of war between states was a necessity in a nuclear age. Yet Schlesinger treats as a major revelation the fact that the Russians have not totally abandoned ideological propaganda. The fact that the Russians say they hope for changes in the domestic status quo in various countries around the world, and the fact that the Russians say they are on the side of anti-colonial political movements and do provide financial aid but never troops for a minority of such anti-colonial groups. Izvestia editorials and Leonid Brezhnevik, oh my God, that's another name I can't pronounce, speeches regularly make these points, and it is no investigative reporting coup for interventionists like Schlesinger to string together quotations from such readily available sources. But such quotations are by no means the blueprints for world conquest some interventionists claim that they are. Of course, libertarians deplore Soviet aggression in borderland territories such as Czechoslovakia, just as they deplored American interventionism in Southeast Asia. The bleeding heart libertarians would read this sentence today, which again was written in 1976, and go, both sides, both sides. No. There are multiple sides. Things aren't as stark and simple as you would like them to believe. As you would like others to believe, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Libertarians believe governments should confine their activities to their own territories. Since the time of Woodrow Wilson, though, American interventionists have argued that government guarantees of investments abroad, government promotion of exports, government subsidization of the cost of obtaining raw materials abroad, and expansion of American political institutions are all necessary to the survival of the American system. The following quotation from Schlesinger's annual report setting forth the objectives for the fiscal year 1976 through 77 Defense Department shows that Schlesinger shares much of this interventionist ideology. Oh my God, as King Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. We live in an interdependent world economy, and our foreign economic interests are substantial. U.S. assets abroad amount to more than $180 billion. Annually, we export more than $70 billion in goods and services, and our imports are of an equal or greater amount. The oil embargo of 1973 is only the most recent and pointed reminder that we have a keen and growing interest in distant lands, their markets, and their products. Our foreign political interests are even more extensive. Within the century, we have participated in two great wars to ensure that Europe did not fall under the domination of a single power. We have a similar interest in seeing that Japan remains independent and that the other nations of Asia are free to choose their own destinies. Our concern for the freedom of the Western Hemisphere from external domination now dates back more than 150 years, and we have important economic and strategic interests in Latin America, including the Panama Canal. Where doesn't he think we have interests? My God. Even in a period of questioning and self-doubt, there remains a consensus within the country that we have vital interests in Western Europe, the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, and Asia. Contrary to occasional suggestions, surely the right cure for what may seem an excess of commitments is not the blind and hasty abandonment of all commitments. Our objective as a great power is to display a somewhat greater degree of steadfastness. Several comments on economic matters are in order here, for some believe that what Schlesinger calls economic interests are economic necessities. International trade is advantageous both to America and to America's trading partners, but in no sense is the further existence of a market economy in the United States dependent on foreign trade. If, for example, all the less developed countries formed a bloc that refused to trade with the United States, some comparatively inexpensive source of raw materials would no longer be available. But in the words of Edward Banfield, at some additional cost, we would either produce these raw materials ourselves or find substitutes for them from within our own borders. The continued existence of a developed market economy in the United States is not dependent upon new frontiers for investments and products. The belief that new frontiers are necessary stems from under-consumptionist economic fallacies. Furthermore, those who fear that economies around the world may become closed to U.S. trade seems to forget that, in Blandfield's words, the present restrictions on East-West trade are mostly of our own making. A recent example is the invitation from the new communist government in South Vietnam to American banks and oil companies to resume operations in that country. A resumption of American business in South Vietnam remains blocked at present by the U.S. State Department. Paradoxically, some Reagan conservatives who fear the closing out of U.S. trade also wish to prohibit East-West trade. The Libertarian Party, in contrast, favors the repeal of all prohibitions on individuals or firms contributing or selling goods and services to any foreign country or organization. As Defense Secretary, Schlesinger was not only a proponent of U.S. intervention around the world, he was also a proponent of nuclear warfare as a normal military option. I was delighted to see Ford fire Schlesinger, commented Ambassador Averell Harriman at the time. I think Schlesinger's idea of a limited nuclear war is a little short of insanity. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Throughout his career as Defense Secretary, Schlesinger promoted a counterforce nuclear strategy for the United States, building what looks like a preemptive first strike capacity, and opposed the other establishment nuclear strategy, deference via mutually assured destruction. Neither of the establishment nuclear strategies, counterforce or assured destruction, is in accord with the LP platform's call for prudently negotiated nuclear disarmament. A final indication of Schlesinger's fundamentally conservative values can be found in his article in the February Fortune. There, he specifically attacks straightforward applications to international affairs of Lord Acton's famous libertarian dictum that power tends to corrupt. It is almost as if Schlesinger had deliberately decided to provide us with a perfect illustration of Kenneth Minnick's, can't pronounce that, observation that from a government point of view, particularly in international affairs, freedom is nice, but national strength and discipline are even nicer. That was a really good article. Most times and days, I would find that kind of boring, but with what's going on in the world today, that's very prescient, isn't it? It just shows that things don't change, that just switch some of the players around and it would be today. Yeah, I'm laughing at 23 Ski 2's like a little short of insanity. I don't know. I think I would call it batshit insane, but you know, I do tend to be quite expressive. Okay, I'm fading fast and I do not like the color cast that this pink bulb is putting on me. We tried something new. I think I might put this in one of the bedrooms as like a mood light. Boom, checka, wow, wow. Maybe I'll do that, but it's not working out here. Let's just say that. Or maybe put it under Mr. Unicorn. Have it come out his nostrils, a little bit of light. That might not be fun. I mean, it might not be funny. I guess it might not be funny, but I actually think it would be funny. Oh, yes, exactly spelled that way. Ski 2 was asking about Kenneth Minigue, or however that is supposed to be pronounced. Okay, everyone, I do hope you have an awesome night. I did not ask for your patronage, but I would appreciate it at patreon.com, or is it .org.com, right? / Pink Flame of Liberty. And again, tiny URL / Pink Flame merch. Check out the Afuera shirt. And I will have some more merchandise coming up soon. There are a few people who bought the Afuera shirt ahead of time and a couple mugs. And I misspelled it. And the way Teespring is, they don't let you know the names of who buys things. They keep those records. So I can't even write these people and offer them a replacement or a refund. So if you are one of those people, and you can send me proof that you are one of the people, there's only like 3 or 4 that bought one of those misspelled Afuera shirts or mugs, I'd be more than glad to send you a free replacement or give you a full refund, though you probably have a collector's item in your hand right now. There was only a few of you, but I realized that happened. It was actually Adrian that wrote me. He's like, you gringos do not know how to spell Spanish. And I'm like, what'd I do? He's like, that's not how Afuera is spelled. And I'm like, God damn it. Okay, well, I hope you all have an awesome night, and I do hope to stream tomorrow. But we shall see how I feel after a full day of work, if I make it to work, and an important meeting that I have. Have a good night, mi guapas de libertad.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians, or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they wanna